Hold on tight, 'cause you know tomorrow may not bring that same thing that you said last night. Woo! Every time I find a little peace of mind, I hold on tight, 'cause tomorrow may not bring the very same thing. No, 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 shit, none of the right there. You that can all just for me. I'm so glad that you that can all just for me. I'm so glad that you that can all for a sinner like me.
Everything was just fine for about a few months, 4 or 5 months. Things had slowed down. Everything is going okay. So far, we're still good, except no money coming in. Bills are coming in. Use my little stash, selling stuff, pawn shop. I was really trying to hold on a sinking ship. No answer, no instruction, no voices coming out from the Lord like I thought it should be. That did not happen. I was primarily just living. After a few months, started happening fast. I started losing hair. I used to take the little locks and roll my locks up, but my hair was coming out. You know what I'm saying? I used to roll them up and keep them, and I used to tell my kids, I'm giving them to my sister because she made these dolls. And I was going to give her my hair to help her make her dolls, the weight loss. It was coming down. I done pawned and sold, but I still did not go back. So what happened, started to go to the person to get the house back because I was in real estate and I was flipping it to get a loan and all this. That's a whole nother story. So to catch you up real quick, in essence, I lost my home. I literally was put out. I was literally sitting there in a daze, not knowing what's going on. Lord, I was just in a daze, and my little girl, she was the last one there. I was trying to hold on, but she was sitting there. We're sitting outside, and she's looking at her dad, and then it starts to rain on me. You know, God has a sense of humor. He gonna rain on a brother. You know what I mean? But he's probably washing some of that stuff off of me. Anyway, I was sitting there stranded, but the truth of the matter is, I was like a fish out of water. I didn't know nothing. God didn't talk to me. I didn't hear no voices. None of that. Just sitting there like a knucklehead. I didn't know what to do. This lady around the corner, she comes up and brings me a big old truck. My nephews, they helped me load up some stuff. We load up the truck. Got me a couple of storages. I thank her for that. During this time, I literally was homeless. I had to give my children back. There was no word from God. No lightning bolts, nothing like that. I was totally lost. I felt sick. I remember one day going down to the pawn shop to pay on my monthly or whatever, and I didn't quite have enough to pay however far I was behind to get it up. And this lady I was with, she said, I'll get it for you. And I was stuck because my mind had shut down. I'm not doing that.
I remember going by one day, this would be maybe a few months after that, and he was now out of his house. He no longer even had a home that he could call his own. I remember picking him up in the back of an alley behind a friend's house that allowed him to stay there. And this is a man that he didn't have to fend for nothing. He could snap his finger and several women would be at his feet, me being one of them. But he said, no, no more. And I watched him walk through the rain. I watched him walk through the storm. And I watched God transform the man I used to know into the man that I know today.
Whatever it is, this is between me and God, me and my God, okay? Let's put it like that. Sometimes when I look back, I feel foolish. But now I understand a little more. I was sitting around homeless, living with someone that had a little space, trying to hold on my daughter, finally had to let her go. Then I ran into a reality. When you don't have a home, you're not on the grind, you look a little funny. That's what happened. I have went down to other people's offices. You know, they probably thought I was crazy. I'd come in and I'd help them out. I had a few skills. I didn't hear from God. I didn't know what I was going to do. Then the child support kicked in because I couldn't keep up. Cars, you know how that whole thing goes. That's a whole nother story. So anyway, I'm still kicking it, going around in a daze. At my office, come in there, and didn't know what to do. Sometimes I'm in there washing my face, brushing my teeth. I did not know what to do. It was some rough time. One day at the office, the lady I was riding to Kansas with, she comes in the office. She looked at me like, can I help you, brother? You know, like, man, what is it? But anyway, I told her to get out of my office. I told her, be glad I didn't take all your money. She looked at me real funny and she left. I didn't hear from her for a year and a half or something. I mean, not a word. Then something happened. She called, I called, whatever happened, we got in touch. Then she started telling me about she's going to this evangelist thing, CCF, Colorado Christian Fellowship. She's going to go take their evangelist. My parents, grandparents, everybody into the word, ministers, my family is into the word. I was just one of those that didn't act right, if you will. My friend who was in the class, she still was looking at me like, you know, like she didn't trust what was going on.
One of the wonderful things that we did since that time, as I watched him get his life together, and as I watched God bring him into his ministry, we attended an evangelistic class together at Colorado Christian Fellowship. That would be one of the first remarkable changes that I said, he's actually on the road to recovering a life beyond his wildest imagination. There was no more depending on women for where he was going or what he was doing or what he was going to have. There was no more playing those games. Did it happen immediately? No, I think not. He went through many changes. He suffered a great deal, but that's what the word tells us. He said, if Jesus lets us know we're going to be like him, we're going to go through persecution. We're going to go through trials and tribulations. And as a witness, one that saw it from the beginning, when I came into it in 2006 to 2022, today I witness a man of God that loves his family and that'll go to any length to be a servant to help those that are lost come across. I love you, William Parsons, and I thank God for you.
Well, that's what it took. Love. It really did. It took love from a lot of people because I started to be able to see a change coming around. I started to be able to see a direction. It wasn't like that. I had to go through some things. I didn't take a day to get here, and it's going to take more than a day to get back. You know what I mean? I could see the forest for the trees. I started to see a light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, all of a sudden, God started talking to my life, ordering my steps. I mean, homeless, I got on the VASH program. Accidentally, didn't even know. Anyway, on the VASH program, they gave me my own place. Okay, I know it don't sound like much, but when you're homeless and you're used to living like I'm living, it was my own place. And do you know that my selfish behind, when I laid there with a couch, a love seat, a table, coffee table, and a dining room table too big for the place, I can't even remember where these things were of mine. But I had that and one of them little 19-inch TVs with the VHS at the bottom. And I laid there on the floor behind God blessing me. And I turn around and I look up and I say, what am I supposed to do with this little place? About that long, forgive me, Lord, that selfish nature, that ungratefulness just peeked his head up again. And then I shoved it back down and started praising. Then I turned around and my son, and I went after him to get custody off of them. I won another victory. I got my son back. Then I turned around, he started furnishing the place. Then I turned around and God, the cars that were being booted, the things that were happening, God blessed me with 2 vehicles. And they weren't all brand new, but they were nice. And they were mine. God continued to bless me. He turned around and one day, after my son graduated and everything, child support stops. My life is starting to change. He started ordering my steps in directions that I didn't know. He put people in my life. I was at church one time, and there was this lady, and she was going to give me a ride home. And she knew me. She was visiting, and she looked at me, and she said, what's wrong? I know that's not you. And then I gave her a little bit of what was going on, and the lady was taking me home. There were days I had to take 2 buses to get to and from church. She was sitting in her car, and she looked at me. Something like, you look beautiful. But anyway, she looked at me, and God put on her spirit, she said, let me buy you a suit. I remember just sitting there a long time because I didn't want to go that way. I didn't want to feel that way. Sometimes God blesses you. It wasn't like greed or I just want or I needed it. Anyway, after sitting there for a while, we go, not only did she buy me a suit, but I was wearing 1 pair of shoes for about a year. She bought me a pair of shoes. God still blessed. I got a lady, I was on a job and there was this lady, and they had a luncheon or something. I was sitting next to her. She told me she can dress. I thought she was, here we go again. I get with Miss May. People that know her, they know about it. So there's a couple of guys that she calls her son. And just to put a shout out, I'm her favorite, okay? We'll just leave it like that. The next thing I know, I have a wardrobe. All this is going on during the time of straightening it out. My son got caught down in North Carolina. Something happened. And anyway, another cousin, I call him cousin, but he's really like my brother. He took care of my son, put him on a buddy pass, got him up. One time I had a daughter in a situation. I called him up, can you help? He said, whoa, yo baby, you just have them call me. I got you. I have another friend, another way God bless me. I mean, this is changing in my life. Another situation where I can fly wherever I want, whenever I want. I can punch me a ticket out right now and go get on the plane. God continues to bless. He continues to bless. I can go on and on and on and on and on. Darnell, a friend. I'm his best friend. No, really, I think Darnell is my best friend. He was a brother that when I was down in that space light, I went and asked him for $1,000, right? He turned around and he gave it to me. But when I got it in my hand, I told him, I don't know when I'll be able to pay you, brother. And he said, it's okay, Bill. God was blessing me, because of the love of people that love me even through my mess. But God, nobody but God, brought me through. And if I have to tell you, I just want to tell you, it's God that brought me through. Introducing New Me, a very new product for your skin. And oh, for the inside, oh yes, we have something there for you as well. Together, it is a health choice that I'm sure you will enjoy. Check it out, New Me. When they say God is a way maker, he's a way maker. He took a brother, he took a man, a broken vessel. And through all of that, I walked through, thinking I was alone, I was abandoned. But I wasn't. I was being molded. I was being created into a new creature. I was under construction, if you will. This isn't a story to feel sorry about. I want to tell you about God. Call it the voice. You can call it universe. My God has many names, and I'm not a brother to get hung up on what you call it. Remember one time I was explaining a situation when I was in this Shekinah glory. I didn't know it back then years ago. It took years before I explained it to someone and they told me. I described the feeling I went through like being in cotton candy with twinkles. And this electrifying vibration that went through me. It was like a vibration. One day I was in Miami doing my little thing, kind of off road a little bit, but I was down there and the 700 Club was on. And I was on the beach in my little room and this man come on talking about he'd been through this, that, and the other. And if you've been through some things, you know, like they say, game recognizes game. When he started to tell his story, when you've been in the trenches, you know what it's about. And it had a familiar ring to it. But when he started talking about how God came into his life, he was describing, he said it was like electricity I call it vibration. Just told that story to tell you. I call it God. You can call it the voice, the immaculate one, the peace. My God has many. And I'm not going to argue over you about what you say and what I say. I don't have that kind of time. I recognize that it's a power beyond my own. Recognize that this power, no matter if it's a good day or a bad day, that this power will be with me wherever I go. And I want more. And I want you to. Do we have beautiful, peaceful days all the time? No. Sometimes we just act ugly, okay? But for the most part, for love, God blessed me with 2 daughters. I didn't know about social media, but he got me 2 daughters to show the old man a little bit of something. He put a mic in my life to let me practice with it. Had time to work. He put so many things in my life. He put "Where Were You" in my life. And that's why when I listen to stories and testimonies and hear people say it was the voice, it was the universe, when I hear these things, I don't have to argue. No, it's God. That's what you better call it. That's what I call it. That's what you don't know what it is. How about you just understanding that there's a person that's trying to illustrate something that they quite never felt or done. I don't know the correct words, but I definitely know the correct words, me. That's what I called it. That's how I described it. Not to be offensive and not to be attacked. People calling you homosexual. You have AIDS. I was high on crack. All these horrible things. I even went down and asked people that I lent money to and stuff, can I get a few $100s? They come up with an excuse or whatever. One thing about this experience, it showed me that a lot of people aren't really your friend. I knew that already. I was out there. I know that. But a lot of people that I really thought that I could depend on, I couldn't. And that goes for family members too. I just want to keep it real with you. It was rough. As I was sitting there wondering what to do, going to this CCF, I was at my office 6 months behind in rent. I didn't know what to do. So I'm in the class, get my certificate, cool, going down to my church. Guess what? They're doing an evangelist class too. Imagine that. So I take it. And then in that class, I was licensed. I was licensed in 2009 as an evangelist. The title part, I'm understanding more what that title means. So that's kind of why I don't really get into titles, because coming through the way I came through, I done sold drugs, women, hot goods, scams. I even sat with pastors that had people out trying to put their houses and homes up to help for a purpose while all their intent was to get some money. So just because you call yourself whatever, some proof got to be in your pudding over here. You just can't walk up to a brother like me and I'm so-and-so, so-and-so and think I'm going to bow down. That's a whole nother story. Years have gone by, but I still carry guilt. Like I said, I've been apologizing. I'm sorry all my life. And if I see someone or anyone out there, know that I'm sincerely apologize for my behavior, or any harm that I brought to you or your family or anyone. The Lord told me when I made this journey, whatever somebody owes you, let it go. Somebody play something right now, let it go. Anybody try to take something from you, don't let them do it. We're just going to call it a wash. You're going to turn around and walk away from all of it. And that's where I was at. I hear brothers like Paul, Bob, Stevenson, and things that you know that these brothers then kind of came out your cloth. Rick. Well, I know a couple of them. See, when I talk about how I lost everything, when I talk about how things got away from me and I didn't lose nothing that I can't get again. I didn't lose nothing. I gained my very soul. Do you understand what I'm saying? I didn't lose nothing. I can turn around and look you or any man in their face. I can look at my kids. I don't have to hide. I'm not that hypocrite no more. God takes someone like that, broken vessel. And I'm telling you, he can turn your life around. I hopped up in the potter's wheel, and he took them broken pieces, and he molded me to death. And there's some things that I really want to get out, and that is that House of Transformation, Hot Ministries, we want to expand. We want to do more. I don't know everything, but I'm looking for some disciples. You know, some people may call them lieutenants, OGs. I need some G's. I need some gangsters. I need some people that want to get out in the community. And we don't have to come as my church, your church, but anybody that wants to kind of uplift and bring life to a dead situation. I've met a few people out there that are doing organizations to help people. I would like to try to come together and see how I can be a part of it. All right? And another thing before I get out of here, there's a few things that I want to do. People that never had an opportunity to let them know what they did. When I was telling you about that office, they probably thought I lost my mind. That was Buffco, Priscilla, and Anita. They let me in. I don't know why. They probably have one eye on me all the time, but everything was good. And I thank you because you don't know. God hadn't answered nothing. And I also want to thank Bob. Never had a chance to thank Bob. You know Bob, down at Antioch. Okay. I don't know how it happened. I was in the daze, in the fog. God, I don't know nothing. But now when I look back, he was already ordering my steps. He put things in my path like a Buffco, like a Pete, and like Bob. I don't know how I got the call, but they wanted somebody to come talk to some men that was transitioning out of prison. And so I went down there and I could do that. I know a little bit about that. So I get down there, and when I get through, I hear this man just crying. I prayed for you. I prayed for you. And I'm like, yeah. He said, no, I prayed that someone would come in here and tell the truth. Well, Bob, let me tell you a truth. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful that you opened up your doors. I'm thankful like the others that helped me along the way. If you knew what was going on in my life. You might have charged me some money. But anyway, I also want to thank Janai, Mr. Carwell. Really, that's kind of how I stayed afloat just a little bit. Because I have people out there that still care. Janai always was hooking me up. Mr. Carwell gave me every opportunity. It kept a brother afloat. My sister, my brother, thank you. You don't know what that kindness and what that love did for a brother when he was going through it. You just don't know. I mean, I know I'm going to miss somebody. There's a lot of thank yous, and I thank you. I want to thank Dr. Sandra Pop. I want to thank her. Actually came visited me in my office at Holly. And then when I was in this doubt stage and going to church, had the little certificate and license, but not quite fitting in with church folks, because if you know church folks, well, then you know that's a whole nother story. But anyway, I was at her church one time and I was walking up on the pulpit. Church was over. She was up in the pulpit. I walked and she, you know how she go, man of God, why aren't you preaching? And I told her, I said, because when I look out there, all I see is a bunch of women and they be looking at me. I don't know where I got that from because I be looking, you know, but some kind of way they looking at me. Okay. But anyway, she looked at me and she said, that's not you no more. And soon as she said that, something released in my spirit because it's not me no more. Oh yeah, I did all that. That's not me today. That's not me. Then another time, I thought she had a third eye. She's like my mama or something. You know, what made you say that? She had on her mink coat, long old mink coat. So it must have been in the winter months. We was at a church. She walked by and she grabbed me and she said, don't you give up. I don't know if she knew. Like I said, did she have a third eye or something? But I just was going through some stuff with some knuckleheads. And she said, don't give up. I want to thank you, Dr. Pop. You don't know, that little pull straightened me back up. Because I was leaning and you straightened me back up. So I just wanted to get that out. Need some disciples, want to get in some stuff. If you have an opportunity, call me, give me a call. Once you put your life in his hands and you walk with him, you may not understand it at the start. You may not know where you're going. I promise you, you be real with him, he'll keep it real with you. What I would like to say is thank you to each and every one. There is a God that could step into your situation right now. Well, another episode of Where Were You? And we would like to thank our guests for this evening. Also want to thank New Me. New Me helps sponsor Where Were You? So go on and check it out. New Me /Arkway. Also, go on and hit that like. Go on and hit subscribe. Go on and hit that share. Go on and leave a comment. And if you find anyone that has a story, let me know. And hey, you bless someone today. right now.